A list revealed by a lawmaker has triggered public outrage. Representative Park Yong-jin of the Democratic Party disclosed thousands of cases of financial fraud at private kindergartens. In data that was collected from inspections into private kindergartens by local education offices, more than 5,000 cases of fraud and misappropriation were found to have occurred from 2014 to 2017. In one case, a principal of a private kindergarten was caught spending tuition fees for private purposes, such as buying an expensive handbag and even sexual wellness products. She also used the funds to pay for her automobile maintenance and housing utilities. Representative Park said what's been revealed is just the tip of the iceberg, so more cases are to be disclosed. We often hear stories about child abuse and poorly prepared meals for children in kindergartens across the country. Overlapped with the image of existing misconduct, the misappropriation of funds is making parents at a loss over who they can trust for their children's education. The government's negligence is also called into question. It is obvious that not all owners of private kindergartens are corrupt, but the idea that the money should have been used to improve the quality of our children's education was misused upsets many parents. Under Korean law, kindergartens are also schools. Just like other schools, private kindergartens' use of government subsidies should also be thoroughly monitored. For many parents, transparent accounting and proper punishment for misconduct in the kindergarten are thought to be the first step toward providing a quality education for our children. There is concern amongst parents and the public on why there was a delay for this report to go public. We can't blame all kindergartens, but the ones guilty of fraud need to be exposed. So I want to talk about, we're talking about a lot of criminal activity here. So I want to mention fraud. Fraud is when you take money that is supposed to be used for something and use it for something else, or you lie in order to get money. So if you're in the supermarket and you fall down and you said the floor was slippery when it wasn't, and you try to get insurance money, that's fraud. So these people were saying they were using money for the school, but using it for their personal reasons. That is fraud. We should not point the finger at all kindergartens. The crimes that the kindergartens committed should have been brought to light earlier. So we should not point the finger at all kindergartens. Not point the finger means do not blame. The opposite is to point the finger at someone means to blame someone, means someone did something wrong or committed a crime. So I said we should not point the finger at all kindergartens, means we should not blame them all. And the crimes that the kindergartens committed should have been brought to light earlier. So this investigation happened from 2014 to 2017. To bring something to light means to expose something, to show something. So for some reason, this report was kept in the dark, but to bring into the light means to expose it and tell the truth, to bring it out earlier. But we don't know why this report was delayed in being exposed. Parents are outraged that the money went into the pockets of the owners of the kindergartens and not improving the conditions of the facilities. So I said parents were outraged. We mentioned that word before in the script. Outrage is very, very angry. Usually when there's like public outrage with an issue like this, that means a lot of people are angry. And then I said the money that went into the pockets of the owners for the kindergartens. If money goes into the pockets of someone, we usually refer to this in kind of a negative aspect or negative way. So, we would say the money went into the pockets of corrupt politicians, or in this case, it went into the pockets of the owners and not for using the money to improve the school. So if something we say went into the pockets of someone, it's usually used when someone gets money through a bad or negative or criminal way. Money was misappropriated by the kindergarten owners. They used the funds for their personal expenses rather than investing in better conditions for the kindergarten. So we said the money was misappropriated by the kindergarten owners. So misappropriated is one of many, I guess, diplomatic words to say the money was misused or used illegally. So the money was supposed to go into the school, but the owners took it for their own personal expense. So it was misappropriated. And then the funds were used for their personal expenses rather than investing in better conditions. So your personal expenses is the money you spend on yourself, not for your business. So, if you're walking down the street and you buy an ice cream, that's a personal expense. You really can't say that's for a business reason. If you buy an expensive handbag, it's almost impossible to say that is for a business expense. That is a personal expense. Full financial disclosure is needed when government funds are given to private kindergartens. So I said full financial disclosure. To disclose something means to tell someone something, show somebody something, or expose something. So when we talk about full financial disclosure means their accounting expenses and books should be open to everyone. Everyone should be able to see them so no crimes can be committed. Kindergartens need to reveal their balance sheets to the government to prevent fraud. We use this word balance sheets a lot for business English. A balance sheet is kind of goes back to when accounting was done by hand. You would see debits on one side and credits. And at the end of the year, you'd have to balance your book to make sure you made more money than you lost. But we still use balance sheets today. So if a company needs to improve its balance sheet, improve its profits, or if you look at the balance sheet, that means you're looking at every financial transaction that happened within a company. So they need to expose their balance sheets. That means we need to see exactly what they're doing their accounting on. As more married couples are forced to work to support their families, they will rely more on government-funded childcare. The accounting practices of these care facilities must be monitored and scrutinized to avoid future cases of fraud. So I said the accounting practices of these care facilities. Accounting practices means everything related to accounting. So reporting your expenses, reporting your taxes, and basically reporting everything where the money goes. That is your accounting practices. So some companies have good accounting practices, some have very poor or bad accounting practices. And I said that these accounting practices must be monitored and scrutinized to avoid future cases of fraud. To scrutinize something or someone is to look at them very, very closely, to get very involved in the details or look at something at every part of it. It's a very detailed way to look at something. That is what scrutinize means. Full financial transparency is needed to build trust with the public. As more parents are working, it is important that the institutions that care for our children can be trusted with public funds. So I said full financial transparency is needed. Transparent means clear. If you look through a window and you can see clearly, it is transparent. We use it the same for when we talk about looking into a company or school or institution's finances. If no one will allow you to look at their financial dealings, that is not a transparent company. However, if they are open and honest about their accounting, they are transparent. And finally, can be trusted with public funds. Public funds are money that the government gives to people, government subsidies, institutions, schools, and this money comes from the taxpayer. Thanks for downloading, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.